Who else remembers watching Tucker Carlson or Charlie Rose? These anchors once stood at the top of their game, delivering the news with authority and keeping audiences engaged day after day. But then, seemingly overnight, everything changed. They were abruptly fired, leaving viewers stunned and asking, what went wrong? What really happened behind the scenes that led to their sudden downfalls? Now, we finally have answers. Here's the real reason these 15 well-known anchors were let go. Let's begin with Kimberly Guilfoyle. She left Fox News in July 2018 amid a cloud of controversy. Guilfoyle, best known for co-hosting The Five, departed after Fox launched an internal investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct. Among the accusations were claims that she had shared inappropriate images, including explicit photos of male genitalia, with colleagues. Her lawyer denied the allegations, but the investigation ultimately led to her exit. Despite the scandal, Guilfoyle didn't stay out of the spotlight for long. Shortly after leaving Fox, she pivoted to politics, teaming up with her boyfriend, Donald Trump Jr., to work on former President Donald Trump's 2020 re-election campaign. Her passionate speeches and strong support for the Trump family made her a high-profile figure at campaign rallies. While the campaign didn't end in victory, Guilfoyle successfully rebranded herself as a prominent voice in conservative politics. Her departure from Fox may have been rocky, but her political ties and public persona kept her in the national conversation. Proof that in the media world, a scandal doesn't always spell the end. Next up is Brian Williams. Once a trusted face in millions of American homes, Williams was known for delivering the news with confidence and credibility. But his career took a dramatic hit over a single embellished story. It all started with his recounting of an incident during the Iraq War in 2003. Williams claimed he was aboard a Chinook helicopter that came under enemy fire, a gripping narrative that resonated with viewers. There was only one problem: it wasn't true. Military personnel who were there at the time challenged his account. As scrutiny mounted, Williams admitted he had been mistaken. He clarified that he was in a helicopter, flying behind the one that had been attacked. He blamed the error on a lapse in memory and issued a public apology, but the damage to his credibility was already done. NBC News suspended him without pay for 6 months, and by June 2015, he was officially removed from his position as anchor of NBC Nightly News. It was a stunning fall from grace for a journalist who had spent over a decade leading one of America's most watched news programs. Though Williams later resurfaced at MSNBC as a breaking news anchor, the scandal left a permanent mark on his reputation. And then there's Ed Henry. He appeared to have it all: a prime role at Fox News and a reputation as a capable, well-respected journalist. But behind the scenes, serious allegations were about to derail his career. On July 1, 2020, Fox News made a shocking announcement. Ed Henry. A career in free fall. Henry was once a prominent face on Fox News, known for his journalistic skills and commanding presence. But on July 1, 2020, that image crumbled when Fox News announced his immediate termination. The reason? Serious allegations of sexual misconduct that sent shockwaves through the media world. It began when a lawyer representing a former employee contacted Fox News with disturbing claims. The network responded swiftly, taking Henry off the air and launching an internal investigation. But that was just the beginning. Jennifer Eckhart, the woman behind the initial complaint, later filed a federal lawsuit containing explosive allegations. She accused Henry of coercing her into sexual acts, sexually assaulting her at Fox News' New York offices, and raping her in a hotel room in 2017. Her lawsuit painted a picture of manipulation and abuse of power. She described feeling trapped, afraid that speaking out would destroy her career. The court filing also included claims of threatening and sexually graphic messages from Henry. For Fox News, this marked another reputational crisis, especially after previously facing scrutiny over its handling of sexual harassment cases involving high-profile figures like Roger Ailes and Bill O'Reilly, Henry's firing was a stark reminder that the network was still grappling with a culture of accountability. Charlie Rose, a legacy erased. Charlie Rose was once considered a giant in American journalism. For decades, he conducted in-depth interviews with world leaders, celebrities, and intellectuals. But in November 2017, his distinguished career collapsed overnight. The Washington Post published a bombshell report in which 8 women accused Rose of sexual misconduct. The allegations spanned from the late 1990s to 2011 and included inappropriate behavior such as groping, lewd phone calls, and walking around naked in front of colleagues. The women, ranging in age from 21 to 37 at the time, either worked for Rose or were seeking career opportunities in media. Their stories revealed a disturbing pattern of predatory behavior. CBS News acted swiftly. Then-President David Rhodes announced Rose's immediate termination, emphasizing the network's commitment to a safe work environment. PBS also ended its long-standing relationship with Rose, canceling his self-titled interview program. Rose issued a public apology, admitting to behaving insensitively but disputing some of the details. Regardless, his reputation was shattered. In mere days, a 45-year career ended in disgrace. Chris Cuomo. From prime time to prime trouble. Chris Cuomo, once one of CNN's top anchors, found himself at the center of controversy in December 2021. This time not because of anything he reported, but due to what he did behind the scenes. His brother, then New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, was embroiled in a growing scandal involving multiple sexual misconduct allegations. Documents released during the state's investigation revealed that Chris had been advising his brother's team and even using his media connections to gather intel on accusers and reporters covering the case. What began as an indefinite suspension on December 1st quickly escalated. By December 4th, CNN had fired Cuomo outright. The network concluded that he had crossed serious ethical boundaries, violating journalistic standards. Cuomo later described the experience as deeply distressing and retaliated with a $125 million lawsuit against CNN. He alleged that he was unfairly scapegoated and that the network had destroyed his career and reputation. Matt Lauer, from Morning Star to media. Pariah Matt Lauer was once the beloved face of NBC's Today Show, known for his charm and professionalism. But in November 2017, amid the rising wave of the Me Too movement, Lauer's image unraveled. NBC received a formal complaint from a colleague accusing Lauer of sexually inappropriate behavior. The network launched an investigation, and more troubling reports quickly followed. Among the most serious accusations came from former NBC producer Brooke Nevels. She alleged that during the 2014 Sochi Olympics, Lauer sexually assaulted her in his hotel room while she was intoxicated and unable to consent. Lauer denied the assault and claimed the encounter was consensual. As more women stepped forward with similar stories, a disturbing pattern emerged, suggesting that NBC may have long tolerated or ignored misconduct. Lauer was fired almost immediately, and his fall from grace was swift and absolute. Piers Morgan. A walk-off, heard around the world. Piers Morgan, known for his confrontational style and polarizing opinions, made headlines once again in March 2021. This time for storming off the set of Good Morning Britain. The catalyst, a heated exchange with co-host Alex Beresford over Morgan's scathing remarks about Meghan Markle following her interview with Oprah Winfrey. Morgan had publicly dismissed Meghan's claims, including her struggles with suicidal thoughts, saying he didn't believe a word she said. His comments triggered a backlash, including more than 41,000 complaints to UK media regulator Ofcom and a strong rebuke from mental health charity Mind. With ITV under pressure, especially after launching its Britain Get Talking mental health campaign, Morgan departed the show. He claimed it was his decision, but the controversy made headlines worldwide. Not one to stay quiet, Morgan launched a new show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, on Rupert Murdoch's Talk TV. However, by February 2024, reports suggested the show struggled with ratings. Morgan announced a pivot to focus on his digital audience, particularly on YouTube, highlighting the shifting tides in modern media. Ken Rosato. One comment too many. Next up is a name familiar to New York viewers, Ken Rosato. It's a longtime anchor for ABC7. His 20-year career came to an abrupt end following a hot mic incident that captured an off-air comment deemed unacceptable by network standards. Though the specifics of the remark were not made public, ABC acted quickly. Rosato was terminated, and viewers were left stunned by the sudden disappearance of a trusted morning news staple. The situation serves as a reminder of the ever-tightening scrutiny in broadcast media, where even a momentary lapse can end a decades-long career. Would you like me to continue rewriting the rest of the list in this format, or are you planning to publish this as an article, script, or something else? Ken Rosato, caught on a hot McKin, May 2023. Miss Ken Rosato, a familiar and trusted face on ABC7 in New York for nearly 2 decades, found himself at the center of controversy that abruptly ended his career. It all started with a hot mic incident. During a break in filming, believing he was off-air, Rosato made an inappropriate remark about his co-anchor, Shirlene Alicott. What he didn't realize was that his comment had been picked up by the control room. Once management became aware, the response was swift. Rosato was fired almost immediately. Initial speculation swirled, including rumors that he had used a racial slur. However, his representatives quickly refuted those claims, insisting that Rosato had always championed diversity and equality throughout his career. Despite the denial, the damage was done. Within hours, ABC7 had removed Rosato's biography from their website, effectively erasing his 20-year legacy at the station. A momentary lapse in judgment had brought a long-standing career to a sudden and unceremonious end. Bill O'Reilly. The fall of a primetime giant, once the king of cable news. Bill O'Reilly reigned supreme on the O'Reilly Factor, Fox News' top-rated show for years. But in April 2017, that empire crumbled. The turning point was an explosive New York Times investigation that uncovered a disturbing pattern. O'Reilly and Fox News had paid approximately $13 million in settlements to at least 5 women who had accused him of sexual harassment or inappropriate conduct. These settlements had been kept secret, sealed behind non-disclosure agreements, effectively silencing the victims. The allegations ranged from lewd comments and unwanted advances to a workplace environment that punished women who spoke up, despite years of complaints. O'Reilly had remained untouchable. His ratings were too valuable, his influence too great. But as public pressure grew, and advertisers began pulling out en masse, Fox News could no longer defend him. After a review of the allegations, the network announced O'Reilly would not be returning. A powerful career, once seemingly invincible, had met its end. Rick Sanchez, one interview to Farron, October 2010. CNN anchor Rick Sanchez gave an interview that would end his career in less than 24 hours, appearing on SiriusXM's Stand Up with Pete. Dominic Sanchez launched into a rant targeting comedian Jon Stewart, calling him a bigot. But the controversy didn't stop there. Sanchez went further, claiming that Stewart and many in the media were part of an elite Northeast establishment that marginalized voices like his. Sanchez, who was of Cuban descent, positioned himself as an outsider looking in, but what truly ignited outrage were his comments about Jewish people. Sanchez questioned whether Jews should still be considered an oppressed minority, and implied they held disproportionate influence in media. The people who run CNN, he said, are a lot like Stewart, suggesting a systemic bias against non-white, non-Jewish perspectives. The backlash was immediate. The very next day, CNN terminated Sanchez's contract. Condemning the remarks as offensive and unacceptable, Sanchez later issued several public apologies, acknowledging the harm caused by his words. But his career at a major network was over. Tucker Carlson, a sudden and stunning exit. Few figures in modern media have sparked as much debate, as much loyalty as Tucker Carlson. As the face of Tucker Carlson tonight, he consistently drew massive ratings and stirred national conversations. But in April 2023, Fox News abruptly cut ties with him. The decision came on the heels of the Dominion Voting Systems lawsuit, which had unearthed a trove of internal messages from Fox hosts, including Carlson. While Carlson was known for pushing divisive and controversial narratives on air, the private messages revealed something deeper. They showed he not only believed in many of the conspiracy-list views he broadcast, but also criticized Fox leadership behind the scenes. One particularly troubling text, laced with racially charged language and violent imagery, raised alarms within the company. At the same time, leaked footage showed Carlson mocking Fox's digital platform, Fox Nation, and complaining about minor production details, further straining internal relationships. Though Carlson alleged these leaks were part of an orchestrated smear campaign by Fox, the network maintained that its decision was based on editorial direction. Despite his immense popularity, Carlson had become more of a liability than an asset during one of the most sensitive legal and reputational battles in Fox News. At History, Don Lemon. A series of missteps. Don Lemon had been a prominent voice at CNN for over 17 years, known for his charisma, directness, and willingness to tackle tough issues. But in April 2023, his long tenure came to an abrupt end. Lemon revealed via Twitter that he had been fired and claimed he found out through his agent, not CNN management. The firing, however, was not entirely unexpected. In the months leading up to it, Lemon had been at the center of multiple controversies. Most notably, he faced backlash after saying that Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley was past her prime, a comment widely criticized as sexist and ageist. CNN suspended him briefly and mandated sensitivity training. This incident followed reports of tense behind-the-scenes behavior, including clashes with producers and co-hosts during the network's experiment with a morning show. CNN stated that Lemon's departure was a business decision, but industry insiders pointed to a growing list of red flags. A once celebrated anchor had, over time, become a symbol of the network's internal struggles. Don Lemon. A series of missteps and misunderstandings. Don Lemon's departure from CNN in April 2023 marked the end of his 17-year career at the network. While the news came as a shock to viewers behind the scenes, the writing had been on the wall for some time. Just weeks earlier, Lemon had been suspended after making a controversial comment on air, suggesting that Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley was past her prime. The backlash was immediate. CNN required him to undergo sensitivity training. But that incident was far from isolated. In the lead-up to his firing, multiple current and former colleagues came forward with complaints, accusing Lemon of inappropriate behavior toward female co-workers. Allegations included unprofessional conduct and creating a toxic workplace environment, further intensifying tensions within CNN. When the news of his termination broke, Lemon claimed he found out through his agent and was blindsided by the decision. CNN quickly disputed this version of events, saying Lemon had been given an opportunity to meet with management prior to the announcement. The conflicting accounts only added fuel to an already complicated and controversial exit. What had once been a celebrated career at CNN ended under a cloud of internal discord and public scrutiny. Jane Acker and Steve Wilson, whistleblowers, silenced. The story of Jane Acker and her husband Steve Wilson dates back to 1997, but its implications still resonate today. At the time, Acker was an investigative reporter at WTVT, a Fox News affiliate in Tampa, Florida. Alongside Wilson, she was working on a powerful exposé about RBGH, controversial synthetic hormone used in dairy cows, manufactured by Monsanto. The report raised serious concerns about the hormone's potential health risks, including links to cancer. Just as the story was set to air, Monsanto sent WTVT a threatening legal letter. Under corporate pressure, station executives demanded that the story be written over 80 times in an attempt to appease the pharmaceutical giant while preserving the station's reputation. Acker and Wilson refused to compromise their journalistic integrity. They were pressured to include statements they felt were misleading. When they continued to push back, the station offered financial incentives for them to quietly walk away. They refused and were fired in December 1997 for insubordination. In 1998, the Carr filed a whistleblower lawsuit, arguing that she had been terminated for refusing to broadcast false or distorted news. An act she believed violated FCC policy. A jury initially ruled in her favor, awarding her $425,000 in damages. However, the ruling was overturned on appeal in 2003. The court held that FCC policies did not qualify as a law, rule, or regulation under Florida's whistleblower statute. The aftermath was devastating. Neither Acker nor Wilson has been able to secure full-time television work since. Their case stands as a stark example of what can happen when corporate interests collide with journalistic ethics. Eric Bolling, Scandal and Denial. In September 2017, Fox News host Eric Bolling saw his career come crashing down after multiple women accused him of sending unsolicited lewd photos and messages. According to HuffPost, the allegations involved at least 4 women across Fox Business and Fox News. Fox immediately suspended Bolling. Pending an independent investigation conducted by the law firm Paul Weiss, Bolling vehemently denied the accusations, and his attorney called them untrue and defamatory. He even filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against the HuffPost reporter who broke the story. The outcome of that lawsuit remains unclear. Despite his legal efforts and public denials, Fox ultimately chose to sever ties with Bolling. His show, The Specialists, was canceled, marking a sudden and dramatic end to his tenure at the network. Megyn Kelly. One comment to far: Megyn Kelly had successfully transitioned from Fox News to NBC, landing a lucrative $69 million deal for her own morning program. Megyn Kelly today. But her time at the network would be short-lived. In October 2018, during a segment about Halloween costumes, Kelly defended the use of blackface, saying, "When I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as a character." The comment sparked immediate backlash. Viewers, advocacy groups, and even fellow NBC colleagues condemned her statement as racially insensitive and historically ignorant. Kelly issued a public apology the next day, acknowledging the deep and painful history of blackface in American culture. But the damage was done. NBC swiftly canceled Megyn Kelly today, and by January 2019, Kelly and the network had officially parted ways. Despite the enormous contract, her downfall was a powerful reminder that no matter how prominent the platform or paycheck, words matter, and certain topics demand the utmost sensitivity and awareness. The bigger picture? A cautionary tale for broadcast journalism, from Don Lemon's internal controversies to Megyn Kelly's honor misstep. From Bill O'Reilly's hush money settlements to Tucker Carlson's private messages. These cases underscore a seismic shift in media accountability. Some anchors fell due to misconduct, others due to ethical breaches or off-air behavior. In nearly every case, a once respected media figure became a cautionary tale, reminding us that in the world of broadcast journalism, reputation is everything, and the camera is always rolling, even when it seems it's not.